If you think it was a wild year for Tesla stock, check out some of these numbers that I just pulled. It's insane. I'm gonna read out some of these numbers for Tesla stock too, high, low, volume. It's insane. So let's start it off. It's been a wild year. By the way, hit subscribe, hit like if you're new, leave me a comment down below as to your thoughts on some of these stats. Okay, got my handy dandy trusty iPad here. Tesla stock finishes the year, as we talk, 131% up for the year. Year to date, I think we all can agree that's kind of a crazy stat looking back to what seemed like of course, a very artificially low start with the amount of selling happening at the end of last year. But still, finishing up 130+% year to date, insane. On a trailing 2-year basis though, Tesla stock is still down 29%. 29%, meaning if you bought 2 years ago to this date, to the end of the year, you'd be down 30% if you didn't dollar cost average down, let's say. In the last 5 years, Tesla stock is up. This blows my mind still. The last 5 years, 1,078%. So you'll see there's this kind of gap of people that are very negative on Tesla stock because they bought in the last 2 years and it's done practically nothing. And then people that have bought anywhere past the 2 years from today or older than 2 years today and now are sitting on massive gains still, right? So there's that kind of that chasm of investor group base that you have to be cognizant of. The people that have invested in the last 2 years and are thinking, what the hell is happening with Tesla? And the people that have bought 2 years plus a day and are sitting pretty a little bit, you know, generally speaking, if you didn't dollar cost average up even. The high of the year, this is insane. The high price of the year, not the highest close, but the highest price that Tesla hit in any trading minute this year was $296.04. $296.04. That was July the 19th. The lowest it hit this year, insane, get this, $101.81 on January the 6th. Look at that gap. Meaning, if you timed this perfectly and you bought Tesla stock at the low and you sold it at the peak, the highest of the highs, highest ticker of the year, you would have been 191%, and your $10,000, let's say, invested at the low of the year, if you were some sort of savant, would have turned into $19,078 within what, 6 months, 7 months? Right? That's kind of crazy. Talk about roller coaster rides. Tesla's not investing is not for everyone because people can't handle when it goes from high to the low, or, you know, in this case, low to the high, people will sell. The longest winning streak measured in days for Tesla this year is 13 straight green days. Who remembers this? From May the 25th to June the 13th. 13 straight green days for Tesla. And check out how many losing days in a row Tesla had for its longest streak. 6. 6 straight losing days only between August 11th to August the 18th. Tesla, as we sit and talk here today, is still down about 39-ish% from all-time highs, right? Remember that 406 split adjusted price. Meaning if you invested at the peak of Tesla all-time highs a couple years back now, you'd be sitting right now, and you did nothing else, you'd be sitting on $6,142. From IPO, Tesla right now is sitting up 19,425%. Meaning if you invested $10,000 on IPO day, you would be sitting currently at $1,966,614. 10,000 turns into 2 million from IPO day on Tesla. Insane. The biggest green day, or I should say the largest green day for Tesla was January 27th, approaching a year in a month-ish. Tesla stock rallied up 11% on the day. That was also, fun fact, the highest volume day for Tesla stock, meaning Tesla shares in terms of volume hit 306 million shares traded that day. 306 million shares traded that day. The largest red day we have on Tesla, ironically enough, is April the 20th, 420. Tesla stock down 9.75% on that day. That's insane. Those are some stats that I pulled here with some Excel work real quick. And I just wanted to paint the year in a nutshell. And I bet you there's a lot of stats in there that you didn't figure. And I had to double check some of these stats just to make sure. And if I got any wrong, let me know, but I don't think I have. Now, the interesting part from all of this is for me, the biggest takeaway is the high and the low of the year. That $100 being the low of the year in January and the high of the year only being 6 or 7 months later at almost $300, it's a 200% gain in 6 or 7 months. This is what Tesla does. Tesla stock is one of the most volatile mega cap stocks in history. I don't think there has been a more volatile mega cap stock in history. People talk about like, Priceline used to move a lot in change, but that wasn't a mega cap. Amazon's been volatile, but not nearly as much as Tesla stock has been. And for a number of reasons. Number one, there's a huge investor following for Tesla. I mean, look at me, I'm making this video talking about Tesla stock. You're watching video on Tesla stock. A lot of stocks don't have that kind of investor base, that fan base of the company. Apple did back in the day, but I think it's kind of dwindled down a little bit. But number two is there's a low float, relatively speaking. I mean, Elon owns a large percentage of the company, and up until recently, when he sold and Tesla raised a lot of capital in the last couple of years, the float was just relatively speaking lower. So with a lower float, obviously it takes less shares to move the stock. Now with splits, you can argue, is that even the case? But I think on a relative basis, it is. And then also the third fact of Tesla stock is that news cycles really determine the sway of the wind, so to speak, for Tesla stock. You could have a million recalls of Tesla, which we know is just a software upgrade, but it could blast Bloomberg, Reuters, Google, everywhere. And you have this concerted effort from mainstream media to really highlight the worst cases of Tesla and Elon because they have their own agendas against them. So here's to a 2023 that was, I guess, successful. I mean, when you finish up 131%, it's hard to debate otherwise. Yeah, I mean, if you've invested down or last 2 years, you're down on those lots. But I mean, when you're up as much as you are, relatively speaking, year to date in the last 5 years since IPO, I mean, it's hard. We're not finishing at the lows of the year, that's for sure. So the stock market is a fickle beast. I know 2024 will be just as crazy, to be honest. It's not like it's gonna die down anytime soon. And the NASDAQ and the S&P 500 also finishing near all-time highs, believe it or not, right? Tesla's not finishing anywhere close to all-time highs, 40% off, like I said. But the S&P, the Dow, the NASDAQ, they're pretty damn close, if not already finishing at all-time highs to end the year. So it's this weird dichotomy and weird divergence of Tesla stock out of the Magnificent Seven, if you want to call it, that we're seeing to end the year. So, everything aside, I just hope everyone has a wonderful, healthy new year. Wishing you a prosperous 2024, wishing you best of health. Remember, prioritize yourself, your health first. Without health, there is really nothing. There's no point in counting money. We don't have our health, right? So prioritize whatever you need to for that. I'll catch you on the next live stream. Hit subscribe on your way out. Leave me a comment down below. And I appreciate all the support. Yeah, signing off. Take care.